All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the December 20th. Oh my God, almost Christmas time edition of the AM show hosted live on the AlphaMint Discord. I am your host, R2D Gen, joined remotely from Montreal today. Had a quick little excursion out there before Canada starts to do some COVID restrictions. But I am, of course, joined with me from New York City, Free Market Lemons.
Yeah, it's getting cold. Cases are going up. Stay safe out there, but all is good in NFT land.
Yeah, for sure. We were actually just talking about that on the pre-show, and we were discussing how there still seems to be this perception that we're in a bear market, and maybe that might be true for some of the existing floors projects, taking a little bit of a dive. Not a lot of huge movers in that regard, but everything is alive and well here in Alpha Mint, especially with some of the success we had just in the last weekend alone. And like you said, it feels like this these last 2 days since we did our last show was almost like 3 months consolidated into one little 48-hour span. But yeah, your weekend was good.
Yeah, my weekend was fabulous. I mean, it was dominated by lemons. I know we talked about it a lot on the show because this is a project that AM was just really, really behind and so excited about for a while. And we all have a long term view on lemons, and nobody expected them maybe to get off so quickly. I mean, we all expected them to get here, but maybe not so quickly. And it really was just a heady weekend of constant spaces about lemons, large names literally changing their punks and their apes to lemons over the weekend. I mean, these just bring joy to people. And it's when you buy one, it's very hard not to buy another. They're fun. They're really good to give away as gifts. And I'm not shilling, I'm just trying to analyze why this phenomena got off so fast, I would say. And I just think it strikes the right tone for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, we'll have we tried to avoid talking lemons in the later half of last week with the show just because it had been such a topic of conversation. Obviously, Alphaman very excited about all of that, but it is definitely going to rear its head up again today in the show because there is so much to talk about now again with the crazy run that it went over this weekend. But yeah, let's really quickly just get into the crypto market and go through that stuff before we get to the meat of the show. So yeah, looking at crypto again, not much has really changed over the last couple days. It's just going in this like sideways channel. Bitcoin right now sitting at about 45, 46,000. So definitely on a little bit of a downward slide still. 8% on the week it's down. Ethereum kind of going through the same struggles, 37, 38. It's kind of bouncing and makes like a little run at 4,000 and then dips down. But we're kind of in that season. People's eyes are away from crypto, their computer screens, maybe even NFTs a little bit, though it doesn't feel like it. And we're just not seeing quite the same action that you typically would. What are your thoughts on this? Are you thinking we're looking for a healthy rebound, or we're in for more of the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's just consolidation right now. Anyone's guess about which direction is next. All the underlying bull cases are still there, and I think it's NFTs don't like volatility in ETH. It doesn't really matter if it's up a lot or down a lot. NFTs tend to move when things kind of calm down. So I don't think anyone could be too mad about what spot is doing right now. But at the same time, the chart is where it is. We're not out of the woods. I could see a move down to 3,000. I could see a move up to 5,000. And when it's like that, especially from a trader's perspective, you don't have a big edge. So we're kind of all just sitting and watching. And the good thing is, it's good news for NFTs, low volatility. And while we're not quite in the same bull atmosphere we were during the summer, things are working right now. And the market is hungry for a certain type of project that's doing very well.
Yeah, and as we're seeing, people are willing to spend their ETH on projects, particularly minting them right now. Um, Pardon me one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, and speaking of minting and making some money, let's talk about Adidas's a drop that went down. First Ethereum NFT drop nets $23 million and shoots to the top of the charts. One buyer managed to grab 330 of the NFTs, despite there being a two-person customer or two per customer cap. And I'm not going to say it, but I think I know who that was too. But yeah, quite a win for them. But I mean, we're talking about Adidas here. $23 million isn't definitely not a bad sales day for them, especially with the margins they're probably getting on it. But definitely didn't go directly to Adidas. There was, I think it was like 12.5% to Apes, 12.5% to Punks Comics, G Funk, et cetera, et cetera. But all in all, a really successful foray into NFTs for Adidas.
There's quite a few quote unquote obvious pumps that go on in this market, and this just felt like one of them, right? Apes, Adidas, Punks, all together just made sense. It also fits into our mainstream thesis, which continues to pick up steam as new entity and new corporations are getting into NFTs every day. And even if the floors eventually fall, they all have an initial cook, because you're talking about very, very large fan base. I mean, look at Coca Cola, who has a drop that I believe is later today. We're actually trying to get the info on it. We couldn't find any links, but someone did drop a screenshot in the DGen dojo. It's going to cook. There are so many Coke fans, people who collect Coke memorabilia, who are going to go to all lengths to try to buy their first NFT. And, that's good for people who know what they're doing. If you understand how to buy these things, you already have a huge advantage over these collectors who are going to go rabid for these things.
Yeah, and as you kind of pointed out to me this morning, there is hints of a Coca Cola NFT dropping. Now, it wouldn't be their first
No.
shot at NFTs. You mentioned a while ago they did a one of one that sold for quite a bit.
I don't want to misquote the amount. It was crazy. It was a very large amount, and it was a 3D jacket, like a puffer jacket that said Coca-Cola. It looked great. It was fabulous.
But yeah, it looks like in maybe about an hour and a half or so. I'm not even sure when this is. It was just a screenshot that says basically 2 hours until the drop. But they'll be doing snow globes, so I'm sure we'll be all over that, and look forward to seeing what comes of it. But yeah, Adidas, Coca-Cola, and just more instances of people getting into the meta.
Season appropriate too. You have Coca-Cola with a Christmas theme. You have Coach, who's putting out their winter Christmas themed NFTs, and then today also we have a fun drop coming, the Seussibles app, which is on the Flow blockchain. If you download this app, it's called Seussibles, and they will be releasing sticker packs today that are NFTs that exist on the Flow blockchain and are themed with the Grinch. So this is How the Grinch Stole Christmas NFTs. Everybody has access to this app in their respective app stores, and you are able to buy with USD. So you will be able to buy a pack for $4.99. Not sure on the limit of these packs yet, but this is going to be my cook of the day. I'm not sure how or when you'll be able to resell these, but first edition Seuss Grinch NFTs, count me in.
Yeah, I mean, and you said $4.99 US that you can purchase them for, which if the NFL Ticketmaster collaboration was any indication of where those can go, I see no reason why. Now, I mean, Dr. Seuss is definitely highly recognizable and collectible, but I don't know if that's going to get the same kind of rabid desire as NFL collectibles, but I mean, it could be something. So it doesn't hurt to go download it, check it out, and it is on the TopShot chain as you mentioned, but it could be something for sure.
Well, look for large entities to be using either alternative chains like Flow and Wax or L2s like Polygon. And like I said, even if it's not because with ETH, it's very easy for us. We buy it, we go to OpenSea, we know if there's an instant market. With the alternative chains or the L2s, it's not as easy necessarily, like the Macy's NFT that we downloaded on the Thanksgiving Day parade, which is on Polygon. I do believe they are getting like $30 and $50 offers right now, and you got it for free, but it was not as easy to figure out price on those things. So we'll see. But this is the type of thing you buy as the first edition coming out this year, and next year, when they do the Grin second edition, that's when I would expect these to have nice value. Plus, I bet your family will like them. Well, this is a good first NFT to
give them as gifts. Although I can't remember, we don't have to get into it, but I thought Dr. Seuss got canceled.
He did, but
yeah, he did, and here we are. No, all good. Like these easy entrance points into NFTs to reduce the friction of what people think about them. I could see some really interesting stuff with the kind of Seuss universe and generative art. To be honest with you.
Man, yeah, there's so much potential there.
I'm starting to think about that a little bit.
I mean, did we talk about the Astro Boy 1 on the show?
We didn't on the show, but that sold for, was it 120 ETH?
120 ETH. It's been relisted now for 10,000 ETH, which I don't think they're going to get, but it was still pretty damn impressive. And it just shows you how, especially if it's a limited edition, these classic, iconic, mainstream properties as they move into digital collectibles are going to be extremely desirable. So,
well, you put a pretty aggressive bid in on that too, but did not get accepted.
They didn't take my 1.4.
No, they held out for a better offer, and I guess good on them.
Yeah, smart on them. They were taking offers before they had set the minimum, and they set the minimum at 10 when they started the official auction. So I wasn't even in the official auction.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Yeah, I remember you talking that you threw a little. I don't think you expected that to win, but yeah, very very cool. And what's that? 120 ETH. We're looking at what, $5 million? Am I doing that right?
No, 500,000.
500,000. Yeah. Oh yeah, off by a decimal point, as I've been in the past.
You're thinking about ETH next year, not ETH this year.
Yeah, well, the future value of it, of course, is the most important. Speaking of spending a lot of money on something, but maybe could have gotten more, Facebook, as it turns out, paid a small bank in South Dakota $60 million for the Meta trademark name, and Facebook paying top dollar for a small bank's Meta trademark shows how assertive it will be in its attempt to stake a claim in the metaverse. I mean, cool that they did that. Probably a nice little win for the little South Dakotan bank. But I got to believe that maybe this bank didn't know that it was actually Facebook buying it from them, because anytime a company like that tries to buy something, the price tends to go up an extreme amount. And Meta was a pretty highly coveted name, I would imagine, as it turns out.
Yeah, will this replace Instagram as the greatest deal Mark Zuckerberg has ever made? I guess it will be yet to be seen, but that seems like a pretty low price when Facebook is negotiating with you. That's their couch cushion change. So I'm guessing that there were 3 levels of lawyers, a Chinese wall, and 6 degrees of separation between whatever entity was negotiating with this bank and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember that a great story of Walt Disney opening up his Florida Disney World after the success of Disneyland, and he had to open, like, I think it was 7 or 8 shell companies of just random names and start buying up the property for this land. And then, like, right towards the end of the accumulation, it got out that it was actually Disney buying all this up. And the price shot up over 100 times per acre for him to buy. I think it was like $25 an acre he was accumulating for, and it shot up to $2,500, or it was something ridiculous like that. So, I mean, if I held the Meta trademark and I knew Facebook was coming for it, I mean, we're going above 100 million, no problem.
They needed you, R2. They needed you.
I know. Well, I wouldn't have known it was. I mean, they're smart. They know what they're doing. They're not just gonna overpay just for the sake of it. But here's one that I didn't see on my 2021 bingo card: was RadioShack has pivoted to DeFi. You've got questions, they've got DeFi, which is a play on their old slogan. But yeah, the 2 men who bought RadioShack in 2020 are turning it into a crypto play. I know RadioShack. There's maybe a couple of them kicking around, but I'm almost willing to bet there's a lot of people in the audience or in AlphaMint that are going to be listening to this have no idea what RadioShack even is.
Well, I got pretty aggressive, and when I heard this, I did go out and buy 10,000 Shack, and I did stake it, and I've actually pulled in quite a bit at this. I'm kidding. I don't know what
I was
their
gonna say,
plan.
holy, you could have told me this. Like, what? We talked about this already. You didn't mention any of it.
I'm joking.
I mean,
So
it's hook,
I don't
line,
know
and
what
sinker.
their eventual play is with this. The most color I have in this is my grandmother was obsessed with Radio Shack, and every Christmas we would get tons of gifts from the Radio Shack toy section. So I have fond memories of the Shack. Did you know they rebranded to the Shack? They're not even Radio Shack anymore.
No, I didn't actually know that too. I mean, the stores
Hmm.
that used to be Radio Shack in all of our malls up here, they still exist as an electronics store, but I can't even remember what they're called, if I'm being honest with you.
The Shack. They were trying to appeal to the young kids.
Oh, like the basketball player Shack?
No, no, but it's just cool, the Shack, man. Like when you
Yeah,
say it,
I
like
don't
I'm
know.
going to the Shack.
I'm going to the
I'm
Shack.
going to
Yeah.
Radio Shack. You sound like a nerd.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't work either way for me, but I get it. I get it. So, but yeah, I guess they're starting at Dex. I this just caught me so off
A
guard that
Dex.
like, yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
So Radio Shack, Dex, I don't
Look,
know if there's gonna be
if
utility.
MicroStrategy can lever themselves to the hilt to buy Boomer Coin, then I am very for Radio Shack, going full bore into ETH.
What's wrong with micro? Never mind. Boomer coin. Get the fuck out of here. All right, let's move into NFTs and get this ball rolling. Where do you want to start? Do you want to just talk about a couple of things that happened? Nanopass did the reveal. I did you end up buying any of these, or you sat out?
I sat out. I was very excited for the project, but missed whitelist. And I've been a little strict about trying not to buy into the hype if I didn't make the whitelist. And Kaiju's actually know the team, partner with them, and we had a pretty good chance to get it, but I did miss out on it, so I didn't buy. We saw they quickly ran to 1.7 floor after minting. I mean, these minted at 0.08, so instant win for
Oh,
anybody who
huge.
is on that whitelist. Huge cook. But as these things do, and especially, we talk about what type of project pumps after the reveal versus what type of project doesn't. It's not just about if the project is good, it's about how much hype have you pulled forward into your pre-sale, right? And for all the good that Nanopass is, they pulled a lot of hype forward. I mean, this was the more anticipated drop of the last couple weeks. It lived up to that, and it obviously took a pretty nice haircut after reveal as people started to dump their commons to look for rares that they like. When Nanopass was minting, I saw some people paper a few between like 0.6 and 0.8. So my thought was that when the reveal happens and they have the dump, they're going to get back there and it would be a buy around there. And I think they're sitting at 0.9 right now. So I'll be watching them today. I love the project. I think of all the alt metaverse plays, this one and properties were the most interesting to me. Obviously, Web3. The thing is, I'm almost not willing to call that an alt play because it's already cooked so much and has such backing behind it. But yeah, Web3, Nanopass, and properties really doing well and fitting into this new metaverse trend.
Yeah, I mean these things look so good. Even just the little
Mm-hmm.
animations, like I feel like I could just stare at these, or I want this like sitting on my desktop or something. Just
Some have
very
kaiju's in
zen,
them.
very cool. Yeah, I saw that in the background
I
too.
gotta go. I haven't seen the one with the kaiju's. I gotta go look for them. But as a big kaiju fanboy, I would love a nano pass with the kaiju on it. So I'm gonna go look at them. Like I said, I was looking at 0.7, 0.8 as my buy point. I do think they'll get back above one pretty quickly after that.
Yep. Yeah, 0.92. It definitely took a fall from its high water mark. I think it was around 2 ETH, kind of at one point slipped back to about 1.7,
Did we
1.6
see what any
pre-reveal.
rares? Did we see what any rares were going for?
I can check right now, but I think there was one of those ones that had some pretty big disparity in it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull it up real quick. Highest last sale. Highest was 11 ETH, and then
Okay,
everything else was sub 5. So that
gotcha.
might have been a big overpay on that one. But
Hmm.
yeah, they look great. They're
They do.
yeah. So congratulations to anybody that managed to snag that, especially if it was on pre-sale for 0.08. It was a huge, gigantic win. Might be the biggest net win of the weekend if you sold. But if you're holding for it, I think there's probably going to be more to come for this too. Not nothing. They've also done over 5,000 ETH in secondary sales, so they're going to be collecting some royalties on this too. And so it should be a well-funded project.
Yeah, no question.
Let's talk about Coolmans Universe. I believe that is slated to reveal today. This was one that's a 10,000 collection drop. A lot of AlphaMint members managed to get on the pre-sale, and thank you to you for setting that up.
And thank you,
Um,
Jake Udell at Metalink, for coming through in the clutch there, because there was a there was a bit of a
little
delay,
panic, yeah.
little bit of panic, but Jake personally put in a call to the owners, had them change the code on the contract just for little old AlphaMint, and everything worked out. That project looks so cool. Coolman is a very well-known artist who has a huge
Cool,
following on
man. Coffee
Instagram.
Dan.
Coolman Coffee Dan of 2.5 million people on his Instagram account. It's funny, we right before Lemon Friends, there was so much talk about 10K projects being too much. And man, have we seen a lot of 10K? I mean, even starting with the Littles, right? And
Big bounce back on
Swampverse.
10K projects.
Right. A lot of 10K projects selling real well. In fact, there's even a 20K project out there holding a 4.5 floor right now.
Oh,
So
there it is.
I think that this is, very cool art that fits it, like this trend of cute, but not like, this isn't Pudgy Penguins, Winter Bears cute. This is like abstract cool cute, and it just seems to fit into the current trend, and it was a nice little cook so far. 0.9 in the pre-sale. It's up now to 0.24. I think it got up to 0.3 at one point, but this is another one that I think, depending on how good the commons look, and I do have a lot of faith that they're going to look really good. I've seen some of the previews. I think this could be a post-reveal pump if the commons look. This is all going to be dependent on whether those commons look too similar down at the bottom. But if they pull off some really cool traits, I actually think this one could pump post-reveal, given the stature of the artist, the pre-sale too. There was a little gas war, wasn't there, Cobain?
Yeah, actually, it got really crazy. So we were all in the voice chat getting ready to do this and mint it. But so I believe on the pre-sale there was about 8,600 of them sold. Or sorry, 8,400. I think the total supply was 1,600 that was left to be minted on the public sale. Now these weren't the cheapest at 0.095, and then with all of the people waiting, especially right before reveal where the floor got up to over 0.3 ETH, sorry, it was starting to shape up to be a bit of a gas war. Now the big difference was on your pre-sale you could only mint 2 per whitelisted address, but for the public sale you could mint a maximum of 10. So with it being a pretty much automatic 3x from the mint price, minus whatever gas you're going to pay, yeah, it got a little pricey, and people basically just full sent it, and this thing minted out in like a block or two. Like if you didn't push the gas up as high as you were willing to go, which I think the prio got up to like 1,600. Yeah, it wasn't cheap, but honestly, I think there were a lot of people that maybe haven't made any profit on this yet, and they're probably sitting around the mid price right now.
Yeah.
Contract wasn't amazing on this either. It was a little bit gassy. But yeah, this thing sold out immediately, and if you didn't send it off the bat, you didn't have time to speed it up. Like it was gone in a flash. So I did try and mint. I did fail out on it. Fortunately, everyone, I think there was probably 20 of us that were minting. Nobody ended up getting any, but I don't think it cost anybody too much in the end either. So good news there, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a really interesting one to watch after reveal because it does have that potential to do well with the art and if these floors hold up and look good. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're building like a cool little universe. I guess not really a pun, but the intended name. Um,
and the buzz has, I like it when a project can kind of keep the buzz under wraps so their hype cycle doesn't get away from them. But then, right when they need it in the last week, man, you saw Coolman everywhere. And I had quite a few friends who actually bought the pre sale right after the mint because they just couldn't get it. And, it's a good juju around this project. So if there is a small dip post reveal, because I have two pre-sale as well that I will be holding through the reveal. I haven't sold one yet, but if I don't like them, I'll probably trade for some ones I like. So that'll be my strategy after the reveal.
yeah, I do have a good feeling about it. I actually did pick some up on the secondary after the gas war fed me, and I feel good about holding them. I'm gonna hold them up to reveal and probably after. Um, but yeah, the reveal is supposed to be happening tonight, and we'll see what kind of price action it gets. It's sitting at about 0.25 right now, so still a cook, especially if you got in on the pre-sale.
Yeah, I mean, no, there would be no shame in taking the profits right now because we do know a lot of these go down. But I just think that this one does have the potential to rise on its floors if they hit the mark. So we'll be watching it today.
Yeah, for sure. Another one that kind of got a little bit of hype internally was Alien Friends. This kind of seemed to sneak up out of nowhere. I was on the road for a little bit yesterday, and then all of a sudden, all I could see was AlphaMint talking about Alien Friends. Almost seemed to, for a brief period of time, be a distraction from the little lemons. But yeah, this
I
thing.
did feel bad. I felt like I was cheating a little bit. I will
Did you?
admit that.
Yeah, you
It
felt a
did
little
feel a little
guilty.
weird. I was like, I like these. I don't want to like these. I just want to be a lemon. But
Well,
yeah,
I mean, they're fitting into the cute, the cute
yeah,
category. They look pretty
exactly.
good. They kind of have some. I said species. That's what they call the Coolman
That's what
Universe
they call
guys.
them. It's a good
Yeah,
name.
yeah, it is actually. I like it.
Yeah,
They have those
catchy.
vibes. A little bit of Cool Cat vibe to them too, and maybe another trend that we'll talk about: a very cheap mint, 0.02 ETH to mint one of these things, and another 10,000 supply drop that is doing really well. Public sale is going live shortly, I believe at 11. Is it?
Yeah, if there's any left, I haven't checked, but they were similar to Coolman Dan's, where I think there was only 1,400 about left for the public sale, which I checked last time. So really, I don't know. I don't know if I would attempt it unless you're ready to really go to war, because this looks like it's going to be botted. There is demand. Oh my God, yeah, there's only 800 left now. Wow. Wow,
Yeah,
yeah, and think about it, it's going to be
it'd be
10
tough to
per
pull one of
wallet.
those. Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
go.
I
And
wouldn't.
I
I wouldn't. Hmm.
also
Yeah, I
important
wouldn't.
to note that the price on it is 0.08, and that's almost full supply. So I don't think this is going to drop too much. Maybe until the
Right.
reveal. Oh, these are instant reveal. I didn't even realize
Yeah,
that.
this is So this is another interesting
Oh,
thing, and
okay. Gee, I went to
I'm
just
gonna be.
scroll through them. That
Hmm.
my mistake.
Hmm. I'm gonna be so fascinated with how these do after it mints out. There's obviously gonna be a gas war. They're obviously gonna be botted, and you know what? We know what they look like, and they look damn good. The floor, look, there are some that you're not gonna like, of course, but in general, the floors look good. This is a
Yeah, they
project.
do.
If you don't, yeah, and this is a project if you don't know by Pape the Great, who is a rapper and creator and knows NFTs really well. I've talked with him on Twitter, and he actually bought some Little Lemon friends a couple days ago and hopped in the Little Lemon Discord. I was like, "Yo, what up, homie?" He gets it. He is not your typical celebrity shiller. He cares about this community and this project. And when I saw the art coming out of this thing, I was super impressed. So this Discord felt super low key. Like I'm telling you, at the beginning of last week, there were maybe 5,000 people in the Discord, and we're talking about a 10K project. People were even asking about Little Lemon Friends. Like, do you think this can mint out? There's like 4,000 people in the Discord and 10,000 NFTs. Like, but all of a sudden, like hype started to build. And big shout out to Polinary, who just brings the alpha regularly into this room. He told us about this in late November. I had forgotten about it. I know one or two other Moon Lounge members also pointed it out. I did a little research. As a Pape the Great fan, I decided to do a little write-up in Curated Alpha. And yeah, so far it looks like a pretty good cook here. And I think the most fascinating thing is going to be what happens after it mints out. We already know what the commons look like. They look good. There's going to be a pump. Kind of feels like it.
Well, the price is already in on floors. I mean, there might be a little bit of a drop once the mint happens, as people try and maybe pick out any remaining rares and whatnot. But yeah, you might see some undercutting after that, especially depending on what the gas price was. But
yeah, exactly. But think about it. The supply is out there. We know, what are there going to be? Another 600 added? We know what the art looks like.
Yeah.
Very interesting case here. I will use this certainly to inform future decisions based on what happens here, because this is pretty unique. And I really like the creator and the vibes of this project. So I picked up 8 on the second. It was funny. I was like, 0.02. And you get 10 per I was like, I'm going to wait till the mint tomorrow, maybe mint 20, 30 of these things. And then you look this morning, there's like 800 left. I don't even know if most bots are going to be successful. As our fearless leader, Scott said, it's going to go in one block.
Yeah, one block. It's another 10 per transaction.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be probably 80 transactions that just go. I don't want to say full send, but they're probably gonna push it. And
we've seen 1 and 2 ETH sales already. So this is, this has the hallmarks of a project that is actually going to do well. So we're gonna have a close eye on this one. And yeah, this as you mentioned, it seems that this is how I'm looking at it. At the end of the last bull market, a lot of people crashed and burned, as we know, and a lot of people got rich, right? And the people that got rich told their friends, and they want to get into NFTs. And at the beginning of the last cycle, we had a ton of low price. I mean, hell, look at Cool Cats, which minted at 0.02, right? We moved away from that. As the money became really easy and teams tried to pull as much of it forward for themselves, mint started to be 0.04 or above at the least. I mean, towards the end of that, it was all 0.05s to 0.08s. And now you see two things. You see projects either price very high, like the Littles, who, they have interoperability. You can gamble your utility tokens in their arcade. It had great art. I mean, there was a ton going on there. So they were very upfront. We're making 10,000. We're charging 0.12, and this is why, right? But there are other projects who maybe you don't have that type of roadmap, type of pedigree, type of backing, but this is just your baby. You love it. It's your passion. You're just like, hey, I'm going to put this out into the world, and if people love it and buy it, great, but I'm going to make it affordable for everybody. And I think those are going to be very, very popular models here for the next few weeks as people get all that Christmas money and decide maybe I should go buy a dick butt or something.
Yeah, these look great. I find instant reveals to be very fascinating as well. It definitely removes a dynamic of the pre-reveal distribution that tends to happen and just puts it all out. Yeah, they do. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things that, like, if it's instant reveal and they're not good immediately, like, you do run a big risk of not minting out, if the first 100 or 200 of these, especially if it's a slow build and it wasn't a super high, hyped drop, the first 100 of these hit and they're duds, then you might have a problem on your hand. But I like
breaking news. Ooh. By the way, you are only allowed 1 mint now in the Alien Friends. They've reduced it to 1 mint to try to make it slightly more equitable for people. So there will be 800 transactions.
That sounds like
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more than 800 transactions now.
Yeah, I know. Oh man,
I don't.
I still wouldn't
I
try,
don't know if I
guys.
like one. I mean, I guess they're trying to be,
Yeah, I'll be
equitable and,
honest.
and even it out. But
I don't know.
you're gonna have to try and full send on
On
one
one, yeah.
to try and turn 0.02 into 0.08 now.
No, don't. I'm gonna still say don't do it, guys. But hopefully, whatever happens pumps the bags for those who have already bought. So
Hey, I mean, you know what? If this is an entrance project or you're low on liquidity, it might have just evened the playing field a little bit for you.
hey,
But
if you want a
at your own
great,
discretion.
yeah, if you
Or
want
a
a
great
great
profile picture. There you
PFP,
go.
come
Yeah.
on. I
Doesn't
mean,
have to
let's
all
look
do
at
with the trading.
yeah, let's be slightly more pure about these, especially the .02 projects. Everybody needs a nice PFP. Can't beat this price right now. For a good PFP. Little Lemon Friends, Alien Friends. These are it's a good vibes, as the kids say.
The vibes for sure. We'll definitely follow up and see what happens after the fact. And then what else do we have? We had one more that we were looking at today. Oh, space games and Hunger Brainz are kind of coming up. Um, while the gaming trend seems to be kind of subsiding and taking a backseat to, I guess, cute low priced art. There's a couple of projects on the horizon that might look a little bit promising, and I have to believe, once that Wolf game hype cycle kind of ran its course, and all the derivatives kind of rolled with it, and they've all kind of flatlined at this point. I got to believe that there are some projects that were working behind the scenes that were either already working on these games for a long time and arguably made the right decision to not just rush the release into that hype cycle that they stumbled upon. And I think some of them might have been working since Orcs. The success of Orcs and the quality of Orcs didn't happen overnight. And I got to believe that maybe this is a little bit of coming to fruition, in terms of these projects that have been silent but working. So Hunger Brainz is a zombies versus survivors kind of vibe to it. Really pixel arty, not a whole ton of information on it, except for you can go into the Discord and pick your team. And then Space Game's another one that's kicking around, another pixel art kind of vibe, fitting in with the kind of OG gaming space.
Yeah, these two came across my screen the other day. I had been in Hunger Brainz Discord for a month, and then they had only gotten up to about 900 people. I was clearing out my Discords, as I tend to do, because I can't stand the red dots everywhere. And I was like, there's only 900 people in here. I kicked Hunger Brainz off my Discord list. The next day, Scott drops it in the DJ and say, hey guys, this is what you'd better look out for. I said, oh, God damn it. How do I always do that? I leave the Discord the day before it gets hot. I guess Otto or some influencer talked about Hunger Brainz. So I quickly rejoined, and I have to start at the beginning again to work my way up. But I don't know if this is a good tip or not. I'll tell you, there's 5,000 hunters who are the humans hunting these zombies, and about 1,200 zombies. Now, originally I picked zombie. I don't know why. But if we're thinking from a game theory point of view, not like who do I want to be in the metaverse, you probably want to go with the team that has less people. Just thinking as a game theorist, and that this is going to be an eventual game. So you go into their main room, and you either choose whether you're going to hunt or you're going to hoard. If you hoard, you're a zombie. If you hunt, you're a hunter. And then it puts you on a team. And like I said, there's not a lot of info available yet, but the right people are really excited about this one. And then we have Space Games, which whitelisted some orcs. The first 50 orcs to get in there and verify would get whitelist. Great little pixel art UI as well. And to Cobain's point, if we think that the Wolf game trend has died down, but there were some projects that were going to be serious about attacking this trend or this meta the right way, I think that maybe Hunger Brainz and a Space Game have a chance to be that. I didn't play any of the games because I did not get whitelisted for any of them. And I decided that given the risk of these, it would be better to really not try to get involved unless you're on the whitelist. I got whitelisted on Space Game. So I am going to give it a try. And I've said it the whole time. The reason things become trends is because there's something there. Something about the model works or is appealing. So I don't think the game trend is dead. And I think that there's going to be some pretty good ones that come up over the next year. I hope these two are hits because they look fun. I love the art, and I'm going to give them a try.
Yeah. Space Game is described as Marines and aliens battling on Mars. So definitely some maybe Doom vibes going on there
fun,
too,
man.
which is like an OG video game as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess it is, you know, to your point about not being whitelisted and having a hard time participating in them if you aren't. There definitely appears to be a distinct advantage to anybody that gets in there absolutely first and starts playing the game right from the beginning. And it can be a little bit difficult to you know, even come in a couple days late, you might already be so far behind. So it will be interesting to see if some of these games maybe have some mechanics that can kind of combat that as well.
Yeah, exactly. All these games are a bell curve. And it's hard to know where that bell curve peaks, but that's when you want to get out of them. Now, many games are trying to solve that bell curve so that it doesn't exist. But currently, when you're approaching this as a strategy, that's still how I look at it. With the exception of something like Orcs, which I very, very much believe in their long-term vision and their status as an eventual blue chip. With most of these games, I'm trying to figure out when am I going to get out. Now, not that my mind can't be changed as things unfold, but currently that's always the strategy I'm going to approach these with. How can I get out at the highest point on that bell curve?
Yeah, and it's you know, mitigating that bell curve or you know, creating interesting, engaging content to kind of push it forward is important. And you know, we see some projects struggling with that, and it gets to the point where it just they just say like game's over, I guess, right?
Yep.
So yeah, be
And that
interesting
was
to watch.
when that game one of these games ended when the creator moved $150 million of ETH off of the platform. I'm not sure which game that was, but it rhymes with Wolf Game.
Oh, does it rhyme? I'm trying to think of something that rhymes with wolf game.
Okay.
It starts with W and ends with Ulf. All right. Well, we have two more topics left. I'm sure you know what one of them is. The Little Lemon Friends is what we'll finish off with. But first, I really just want to talk about the last ArtBlocks Curated of the year, I believe.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
And
ever. I thought they were shutting it down after that. They're like, well, we tried. I think this Gen Art thing is that they hired Shubang as an advisor, so I think they're shutting down.
yeah, no, I doubt ever. But this is, you know, in typical Monday fashion, the Dutch auction going down. Oh my God, I'm trying to put it on the screen here. This website is wreaking havoc on my laptop here. But it is Geometry No Compute. Is by Samzy. It is following the traditional Dutch auction of the art block ways of 5 ETH every 5 minutes down to the resting price of 0.1. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at these, but they are out there, man. Like they pretty damn cool, actually. This might be kind of in your vibe as well. I'll link them in.
Nice.
You pulled them up?
Yeah, I'm looking at the YouTube right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with these, and like I could see some pretty interesting variety and
you want my guess?
Potential to come out of it. Yeah, sure.
And I love these. My guess is they won't do that well.
Okay, why?
I don't know. I think there's a certain look that does really well in generative right now, and that's a little too Tron spacious. Like, I love this aesthetic. It seems to be that the really good gen art right now is the stuff that leans towards fine art, not towards like cool computer Tron-esque stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I love them. I mean, look, I think with ArtBlocks Curated, because it does happen every once in a while, and you do need to be liquid. But if these just sit on the vine and get down to a crazy low Dutch auction price, it's probably not a bad idea to grab one if you can, because, you know, curated is less of a hit and miss than factory or playground. While there are still some curated that don't do well, it's worth a gamble if the auction gets down to like 0.25. It's pretty much the curated floor. I guess it's 0.1 or something, but you're gambling on an ArtBlocks and if you're gambling on an ArtBlocks and it falls to 0.1, I don't think you're seeking professional help. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, if I was home and saw this Dutch auction dropping down to a good price, I would probably be picking it up. I think they look cool. I just think that they have a lot of potential to have some disparity between the ones that look really cool and the ones that don't.
Right.
You know, they're very busy, and it, you know, it might be something that's cool to look at a little bit. But you know, are you putting this on the wall of your dining room? Probably not. ArtBlocks is definitely, as you said, more toward the fine art spectrum, and this is very computery. And you know, on that note, the pixel art Scoundrel ArtBlocks Curated didn't really do that well either, eh?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, let's talk about it. The topic that we've all been waiting for, I suppose. Little Lemon Frens is having a moment. It you know, we minted out and revealed last week. 0.025 was the mint price, as we all know. It did all right pre-reveal, if I recall correctly, hitting about as high as 0.07 in somewhere in that ballpark. Yep. And then yeah, it kind of hung out, you know, 0.05 after the reveal and after things kind of shook out a little bit.
Yeah, it fell down to 0.04 or 0.039 at one point. That was when Agmar said the project was dead and gone and we'd revisit it in 6 months.
And here we are still talking about it. And as we all know, yesterday, well, I want to say it was slowly, then all of a sudden, you know, it hit the floor of 0.04, as you said, kind of chilled out there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it started to show some signs of life. It went, you know, 0.05, then next thing you know, it was 0.07, and you know, there was a lot of NFTs on the floor to get through, but all of a sudden, and you know, maybe gas was favorable, you know, the price is obviously incredibly favorable, but things just kind of started happening. And you know, yesterday it just ran up all the way to, I think it was 0.25 on the floor for a very brief period of. Did it get that high, eh? Yeah, I mean, I definitely I sold a couple into the volume, only because I just don't want to have all, you know, a lot of liquidity sitting in things right now personally, but I didn't feel about it, and you know, I'm definitely making sure that I'm going to be holding a bunch of these for a longer term play. But yeah, it seemed to start a craze. Everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean people outside of AlphaMint started changing their profile pictures to lemons. The floor was constantly just getting swept by the genie nonstop. Some bigger names, as you'll highlight, kind of jumped into it, and all of a sudden, you know, we are now sitting at a 0.18 floor, and this thing was, turns out, you know, we always had the faith, but an absolute cook, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we know we love the lemons. I want to approach this as analytically as possible and just look at what happened here and how can we apply it to other projects in the future. A good friend of mine, David Howe, bought some of these lemon Frens as kind of his first big purchase into NFTs. And he asked me this morning, did the floors usually drop that much after something like this? Because if you're coming from stocks, right, and you buy a stock and it goes up 100% and it's down 50% the next day, something's wrong. Okay, that's not typical. And you definitely need to question what is going on either with the company or the mechanics of the market.
Yeah,
With
and NFTs, we just
NFTs,
call that a Tuesday.
I mean, the fact that, like, if this project didn't have legs and it had experienced a hype cycle like that, it would already be back at 0.06. And I'm not saying it can't get there if the market gets weak or if another huge fad comes along and people forget about the lemons for 2 weeks. It's just the nature of NFTs. They're very low liquid. We know when it becomes a hot thing of the day, traders are going to get into it. And the moment the volume leaves, traders are going to start taking losses just to get their ETH back, because we know if a project goes dormant for 3 weeks, your ETH is locked, whether it comes back or not, right? So as bullish as I've been about Little Lemon Friends, I wasn't telling people to buy at 0.25 and 0.27. In fact, in Kaiju, where they were even asking some of my advice, I said, yeah, 0.25 seems like a great place to take some profits. It could be a local top. And here is another reason why I believe in this project so much, and especially Scenarius long term. When we were at about 0.18, 0.19, getting up at 0.12, he put out a notice saying, guys, we know we love the lemons. Don't FOMO in. There's no reason to overextend yourself or risk money you don't have on lemons and blah, blah. And while that may seem like just a brief disclaimer or something a project is trying to do to protect themselves, I think Scenarius, who understands this market as well as anybody I've ever talked to, knows how these things work. And you're always going to get 50% pullbacks on things like this. And if you look and analyze, it's certainly not as bad as the 50% pullback makes it look. Now, what things do you want to pay attention to when you have this brief hype cycle and the floor drops? Well, rares. Okay, so were rares moving? What price were they moving at? And then most importantly, when the floor starts to fall on these things, the people who bought rares to try to profit quickly on the hype, they start to paper them, and they'll paper them for either a slight profit or even what they bought just to get, their ETH back and not have so much ETH stuck in the rares.
Well, as we see too, even for quite a bit of a loss, if the volume starts to die out, we often see people that bought something for maybe 0.5 relist for like 0.35 an hour later, just trying to get back. And that's one of the really, really difficult things about being in the market for rares is that sorry, my laptop's dying, but it's plugged in. I'm not really sure why. Just that, you got to shit.
Well, there's a very specific pattern that usually happens, right? Like initially after the reveal, rares are going to be at their best risk reward. You're going to, we oftentimes in AlphaMint, we all hop on the voice chat and we all sit and we start sniping rares. We look at the rarity tools, et cetera, et cetera. And the risk reward for that starts to change once you get towards the middle or end of the initial hype cycle. So there's a point where it actually makes sense to sell your rares for that short-term premium and then roll them back into floors either right away or on the first pullback. And that's just what you have to consider. Now, if you're a collector or if you're thinking I want to hold something for a year, sure, buying a rare and leaving it there, it's a great play. But remember, you're locking up a large amount of ETH, and there are going to be quite a few times during the cycle where the risk reward is better for floors than it is for rares. So if you're a trader, there's a point where you roll your rares down into commons, or even vice versa, right? There are times when it goes the other way. So to this point, if you watch, now I have quite a few legitimate, not even stink bids on a bunch of lemons I've been eyeing. Not one has been accepted. Not one person has countered me. And 3 of them that I had bid on were bought at the ask me now price, even into the floor dipping 50%. Now, regardless of what happens to the floor, and mark my words, if these lemons get under 0.1, I'm getting up to 200 lemons. Like, this is not, I will not panic I was a little sad when they got over 0.1 because I had just told my partner Panucci after I bought a pirate hat holding a pinwheel, which is just one of my favorite little combos there. I said, this could be the last lemon we buy because I'm not buying over 0.1. You have to, I love the lemons, but you got to manage your risk, right? You don't, if you're buying all these things at 0.02 and a little higher, once they get over 0.1, you kind of just have to step back and see what happens, right? Because if you started to chase into the FOMO, and I saw a lot of people feeling the FOMO at 0.25,
yeah,
you really cannot, you just can't chase a collection like that. Like, nothing is going to go to 1E overnight. And if it does, I promise it's falling 50% the next day, right? So just chasing is never a great idea. All the other variables I watch on a collection are just humming, look fabulous. I wouldn't even look at the floor on these. I don't check the floor. I find out the price when people talk about it because I just don't care. I'm still a buyer. But it was a very interesting, beautiful case study on what happens in an initial hype cycle because there was no influencer hype. In fact, you could argue what popped the local top was when Ja Rule, who ended up buying his first little
New York
lemon.
native Ja Rule.
All my lemons that be living it up. So
oh my God, I think we need a parody song if that's not already a thing.
Come on, yo! And if we could get Ja on it, oh my God, we're taking taking lemons to the next level.
This is something. We're on to something. We gotta put our heads together after the show and figure this out. Ja Rule, after a Fire Festival disasters, probably looking for a solid rebound. And
he is a relatively genuine guy in NFTs. I haven't seen him start a project, pump a shit project, try to like get people into say he knows tweeting about something he bought could cause hype, but he never tries to like shill or he seems to love NFTs. I mean, I don't know the guy's personal motives, but this is basically when lemons peaked out was when Ja Rule bought. But let's talk about all the stuff happening around lemons. There have been 1 to 2 spaces every day with a minimum of 100 and 150 people. And now this isn't a 5,000 person Balaji space, but for a project that launched 3 days ago, people get bored easy. Like, last week we were like
the Discord vibe to Twitter. It's awesome.
Yeah, and like I wanted to stop talking about lemons because I'm so scared to play them out. Like, I just don't want it to become a song that I loved that I played too much, and you just naturally keep coming back to lemons. Now, I don't know how long it's gonna last. Maybe we get bored next week, maybe in a month, but for now, I don't see it happening. And the community feels the same way. You're seeing them all over Twitter. These are constantly revolving into diamond hands from people who are just trading them. And the long-term prospects have never been so bright to me. So I may even pick one up on that cheap 0.1 floor that it's sitting at this morning.
Yeah. And going back to the earlier point that you made with looking at the sales and the rares, I mean, these one of ones went for the like green kind of like radioactive looking one went for like 7 ETH. There's plenty that are in the 4 ETH, 3 ETH, 2 ETH range, and that just says to me that there's people that are picking these up to collect them and hold them because they're paying I guess at the time 60 times over floor value. And those things are hard to just flip and resell. Like, I don't think somebody's buying the most expensive lemon for 7 ETH to try and flip it into 9 ETH right away. But I think that this is a long-term hold, and there feels like there's some kind of a little bit of a movement going on behind there. Like, it feels like a thing.
Well, it was interesting because we talk about whether this was a When token or a When TV show project, and it obviously feels a lot more like When TV show. But speaking of like not basing things on a roadmap and not getting ahead of yourself, the official Little Lemons NFT Twitter account tweeted out !When merch. Now, I don't expect Scenarios to get ahead of himself, and it actually made me think that merch is a lot closer than we think, And boy, do I want some Little Lemon merch. Oh my God.
I fully expect you to be walking the streets of New York, absolutely decked out in lemon. It would actually be hilarious if you reproduced some of the lemon traits and sold that
Mm-hmm.
as merch. You
Oh
know,
my
like
God.
the
It would be
chef's hat or the beanie. Well, the beanie is a no brainer, but like a mushroom hat or something.
And picture this, a children's line of yoga wear, little baby Lululemons.
Little
Okay.
Lululemons, yeah,
Little
that was that Scott that came up
Lululemons.
with that.
Yep.
That
And
is
I swear to God, Scott, they're
easy.
discussing it in the spaces very seriously. And I think so. Someone said they knew the CEO of Lululemon and was going to show it to them.
Oh yeah, CEO of Lululemon. That's my mom. I'll get to that.
Oh yeah. Mom dudes. Mom, check these out.
Yeah, so Lemon's super exciting. Honestly, just happy for Scenarius too. I mean, the guy just he took his time. He made a good project. He didn't rush anything. He wasn't too greedy. Even just 2.5% royalties on OpenSea is incredibly reasonable, right? Like I don't think anyone would have batted an eyelash at it being 5% as most are. But again, it's so easy to be in love with the lemon. So
The only thing I've ever thought to myself, I'm like, Scenarius, are you getting paid enough? Like we want to give you more money. Like I don't want you to be underpaid. So
oh, I think
I
you've probably given him as much money as almost anybody else has.
well, I'll say this much. I am so thankful to Scenarius just for his dedication and passion to this project, and it is my favorite project of the year. I went and bought lemonlord.eth yesterday and did send it to him as a gift so that nobody else could buy it and impersonate the Lemon Lord. Just to thank him for everything because, yeah, this is my favorite project. So thank you, Scenarius, and we look forward to everything coming in the future with Little Lemon Friends.
Yeah, I mean, just to wrap it up, thanking him isn't just like thanks for making us a bunch of ETH or whatnot. It's actually, it's brought some people over to AlphaMint. It's put some eyes on us as well. Even just seeing our YouTube video that we did, the interview with him. It was a pretty successful one. It had up to about 200 views on it, which might not sound like a lot in YouTube terms, but it is not too bad at all. And now it's quickly shot up to over 500 views. It's like the first thing that pops up on YouTube when you search Little Lemon Friends. So I mean, it's great for us too. And he took the time to come on the show in his first interview that he's ever done, hang out with us, and it was just a lot of fun. So I mean, I think that. It's a great relationship that we've formed with him, and I know maybe becoming something of a bit of a friend to you, a little
All
lemon
hail the
lord
Little
friend.
Lemon Lord.
You got it. All right, let's wrap up the content portion of the show. I'm just going to get the stage set up for inviting people up and have audio in. Is there anything you wanted to finish off with while people are throwing their hands up and coming up onto the stage?
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Super pumped for the Coolman reveal. I'm so curious to see what Alien Friends do after they sell out. Could be an exciting day.
Yeah, there's lots on the horizon to be excited about. And
Oh,
I think,
I did have one thing, and we could start bringing people up. But I wanted to mention Bad Bunnies releasing their Carrots white paper, and
okay.
they,
Oh yeah, he shot us a
yes,
message. We gotta
he
maybe do a
did.
follow up with him too.
I would, yeah. It's launching tomorrow, so I'm really hoping maybe we can get him in an interview this evening if we have time. But I see the Bad Bunny bot, the sales bot, has been going off the last few days. It's a very low floor, and I think what really impressed me was the new art that they're putting out. And I'm not talking about them making new NFTs. This is the art that's based around the game, and they're doing some stuff with the token and things like that. And I am just everything looks so good over there. I hope we can get them on to talk about it soon. Even if it happens after they release it, we'll chat with Bad Bunny creator. That was a great interview.
Yeah, a lot of fun with him too. Yamar, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? I think you guys are missing out on one of the best, biggest projects. It's completely under the radar, no marketing. I don't know if you've heard about it. I hope you have. If you haven't, it's not too late. It's called Solar Bots. Have you heard of this?
Solar bots. Can you drop us a link in the general? I don't think I have heard of. Is this on ETH or on Solana?
It's on either.
Cool.
Yeah. Let me drop the link and then I'll talk more about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I haven't personally heard about this either.
All right. So I just dropped the link. It's a 60-page white paper, so have fun
Oh
looking
my
over
god.
that.
Oh my god.
It's
Well, check back in a
way
month.
worth
I can't
the
read that
read.
fast, man. I'll get through it
Well, you
eventually,
don't have
though.
a month because public mint is happening in 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Sorry, whitelist mint.
Oh, okay.
But public mint is in 2 days.
All right. Let me
It's fully
hop in
doxed.
here. Cool.
All the cybercongs are there. All the Axe Infinity people. It's not too late. I mean, there's so much to
Are
this
they still
project.
whitelisting?
There's no
Oh, I guess not, because
no
that's today. What am I
whitelist
saying?
fund. Um,
Cool. Yeah, the
All
art
right.
looks
Yeah.
great.
I'm on the whitelist, but
Very cool.
it's man. Everyone in here, I highly recommend joining that server, reading that white paper. Not financial advice, sorry, but you're not too late on joining this.
Do you want to give us
It's gonna
like
be
the
the biggest
TLDR on
project
it?
of 2022. Um, Final Fantasy inspired, WoW inspired, Zelda, D&D, EVE Online. There's gonna be land that's gonna be released next year for minting. Big known investors with over millions of dollars invested into it. Coco Bear, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but there's so many whales. All the cyberkongs are there. Um, I mean, it's basically a turn-based. It's gonna be a turn-based game
And
where you're factions fighting to save the princess
okay.
against the abyss. I mean,
And what's
yeah, it's play to
what's the mint
earn.
price and how many of them are there?
So you actually mint in a package. It's zero point 0.2 ether, but you get 4 NFTs for that,
Okay.
and they're basically 0.05 each.
Oh yeah, I'm
So
seeing right here.
there's
You get a full
four.
team that'll equip yourself to be able to play.
Yeah, so you get a team of 4 characters: tank, DPS, heal, and all that stuff like that.
I see a
And
couple different
once you're to
types
that
of.
team,
I see a few different types of art. Is it the 3D art or is it the 2D?
uh, if you're on this server,
Mm-hmm.
um, oh, so the 3D is something else. So
Oh,
it's
okay. Yeah. I was just wondering. Cool.
That's
that
really
was
cool.
a fan art for whitelist or something like that.
And are
Ooh.
you whitelisted on it too?
I am whitelisted. Yeah, I was one of the early adopters on
Yeah, I take it you're
Sweet.
going to be participating.
it.
Yeah, everything
100%.
looks right here. I like the website. Art is pretty cool. Good pixel art, and it's play to earn. You're saying?
It is play to earn.
Nice. Yeah, it it looks like the most well put together of all the games so far. Great find, man.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Yes,
do a deep dive on this.
they so
nice
they
share.
did the actual founders of the company did a reach out to investors, and so those are the what are they called on the server? Advisors, I believe. Yeah. So the advisors, the devs. I don't know if familiar with Moistness, but he's a very big Solidity dev.
Cool.
I mean, the whole project is very well doxed, very big names in it. I mean, if you just scroll through some of the chats, you'll see basically almost every CyberKong owner. You'll see Axie Infinity mods. You'll see some of the biggest names and NFTs are there, but they have not done any marketing yet. I know the marketer, and he's preparing to market, but
Tell
not
them to
yet.
come on the show, please, if you know the marketer.
Yeah, if you talk to them, we're always looking for really interesting interviews and people to talk to that are actively developing. But curious that they're going into pre-sale right now with no marketing
Oh,
intentionally.
I don't think they need the
Is
marketing
that yeah,
just
Mm,
fair?
because of the people that are in the
nice.
backing. Uh, I highly think that it's gonna sell it very quickly.
Yeah, I have a lot of appreciation for people that don't like, you know, intentionally manufacture too much hype. If you know, they've grown an organic following of people that are in the Discord and willing to mint and participate, and they feel good about that, then it's really, not to go back to it, is not unlike lemons, honestly.
Yep.
So that's great, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to talk about while you're up here?
I'll raise my hand. I'll let some other people talk. I'll come back up.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks so much for sharing that, and we'll definitely watch that. And if anything ends up coming of you know, getting some of the devs or artists or whoever on, that'll be could be a lot of fun. So thanks, man.
Yeah, cheers.
Let's get our resident shroomhead Josh up here. Looks like you've got a whole collection of friends around a mushroom of yours.
He has a blue party hat. Do you know how
Oh, did you
coveted
snag one of those? Yeah, no kidding.
No, yeah, look at that. Did you know some
No, Josh
Kong?
did.
Yeah. Some Kong dropped into the Little Lemons Discord like, I will pay a king's ransom for any blue party hat. All blue party hats report.
And you're proudly hodling your blue party hat, eh?
Oh, ain't nobody touching my blue party hat. Oh man,
Love it.
Woo.
Yeah, Cardinal
can't choose just one. You know,
No.
it's just they're just too good.
I saw something about AlphaMint maybe cornering the market on the blue. Was it the blue party hats?
Yeah. I got one. I pulled one. Ghost pulled one. I can't remember. Somebody else pulled one. So we had at least 33% of them, right?
And
Yeah,
Cardinal has
at the
one.
very least bought one. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. So at one point we must have held more than half at some point there.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that at one point we held more than half the total supply of the lemons. Not actually, but that's definitely a
certainly
ongoing joke.
Half the available supply.
Oh man. Well, guys, man, GM. Sounds like everybody's doing good on this fine Monday.
Yeah, just happy to be back up here, man.
Heck yes. Love having it happen every morning. This is my go-to wake up.
You're East Coast, right?
So I'm West Coast. I'm West Coast. So I usually miss the beginning and catch the tail end.
That seems to be the trend, actually. We definitely have like a slow build over the course of the show.
Yeah, as we're all waking up over here on the West Coast.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, all good. So I'm just thinking about timelines on Lemonheads, and just I think this is probably our first time on getting this invested into a project like Lemonheads that's doing pretty well, has some long-term potential, etc. Obviously, nobody can predict the future, but I'm curious, like, for other successful projects like this, whether it's something like Crypto Mories or even something like Cool Cats, what was like, do you guys have a feel for like what was the time horizon for growth on projects like that? Like, what can you give people a sense of like what other successful projects have looked like over time after the point of minting? I'd love to hear a little more about that.
Mories was fascinating because Mories was at the tail end of the last bull. So it was actually very hype. I remember when I think it was Lucas dropped the link in the DGen Dojo. It was like, this guy's a known artist. The art looks really good. And people minted it hard. And it was an instant cook. Like, I think it got to 0.21 or 0.22 the next day, pulled back to like 0.11, 0.12, right? And then it just stayed there. Then the Shiba cycle hit. Gas went nuts, went up to 300, and Mories at their low got down to 0.04 or 0.05. And mind you, that still meant it was 0.1 with gas. So that's the other thing you have to realize. When gas gets insane, that amount usually comes out of the floor. So a floor selling at 0.5, it's really a 0.1 floor. And if gas fell dramatically, those would get hoovered up quick and you'd be back at 0.1. But Mories went as low as a project could go during that bear market. And the thing is, we're not going to talk about what makes a community during this conversation, but Maury's had a community, a weird one, a out there kind of alt community and a fun one, but you see the family, as they call themselves, everywhere. And they had legitimate holders who believed in them, including myself. It really came down to the art. It was so good. It was so pop. It made such great PFPs. Even when I see them now, every time I see a Maury, I'm like, that looks fucking great. And after the bear market waned, they had a nice slight bump, but then there was a major sweep. Like some hedge fund decided to get big into Maury or something. They ended up getting up to 0.4. Then they found a lot of support between like the 0.2, 0.4 area, usually living around 0.3. And then a couple of weeks ago, there was another major hype cycle where they were brought all the way up to 0.7 at their peak. And now they've fallen back here to support. But, you know, this is a very large project. When you see the 10,000 supply projects, you're always going to get these very large pullbacks because there's just so many of them. Traders try to play the short term, they get stuck, and then you see the floors fall 50% afterwards as a result. So pretty typical. And Maury's is such a great example because I honestly believe lemons have done it even more. Even bigger hype cycle. Like the way people are adopting these seems a lot more popular than Maury's, much more reminiscent of Cool Cats. And I was not deep in it at the time, but if you pull up a Cool Cats chart, you can see what happened. It was these small peaks early on that got them up to 0.4, 0.5. They would crash. Then they hit 1. Everyone was shocked, like, oh shit, this could be real. Pulled back to 0.5, 0.7. Then they broke through 1 and got to 3. And it was like, oh shit, these may be an elite. These may be the next blue chip. They pulled back from 3.
And let's not forget that Cool Cats didn't mint out right away.
No, they had to reduce their price. Didn't mint out, had to reduce their price, all that, you know, lovely stuff. And then they just hit their major hype cycle that brought them slightly above 10E at their peak. And then giant bear market hits all the blue chips included. I remember that one week when Kongs and Cool Cat and everything people thought was just safe to put your ETH in just crashed. I think Cool Cats got down to 3 or 4 at one point, but now they're comfortably sitting at 7. I very much believe they're going to get back above 10 next year, and I do think they're the next Bored Apes. I think Bored Apes are going to go to 100, and Cool Cats are going to go to 50.
50 ETH on the cats, eh?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one common denominator is that they have some kind of. I always go back to that Twitter thread that Will from the Littles project made about what makes a successful project, and it's just. You know, they have some kind of niche that they're filling in the market that allows like a pretty organic and vibrant community to form around it. And I think that that's just really important when it comes to it. It does feel like Lemons has that, but Cool Cats has that. Bored Apes have that. CryptoPunks have that. The Kongs have that. And
even
more,
more,
it definitely isn't something that happens immediately. Like as much as we love the orcs and stuff like that, I mean, obviously there was supply constraint stuff, but when they first dropped, like 5-6 ETH, I mean, as much as we wanted it to, that was never going to last like that. It does take time for that. Those rabid hodlers. I mean, we talk about Bored Apes all the time. How some of these people that minted them or bought them for sub 1 ETH, like these, JPEGs might be a large portion of their net worth, and they're still not willing to sell them. And once you create that, just like that insane, almost cult-like willingness to die on that hill, I mean, the price just goes up because people just don't want to part with them.
Yeah, I think Cool Cats was very similar to Lemons in the sense that, like, you look at them, you buy one, you just want another. Like that, I think Lemons and Cool Cats have the best traits in the game. Fun, exciting, varied, works well almost no matter what the combination. And that's why I think Cool Cats were successful, right? Like, look at Kaijus, okay? They pulled all the hype forward, and not on purpose. I mean, it was just the nature of them being so perfect for the time that it worked, but they pulled all that hype forward. And after that first peak that month, they've suffered since. So they're polar opposites. When you look at Cool Cats that had the rough launch and was a slow starter and eventually became the blue chip, versus Kaiju that was just the flashiest, hottest start anyone could have and has been a slow drip since then. I consider them both similar quality projects. I believe Kaijus are going to get above 10E as well, but it's just about your launch. The launch dynamics are going to affect your first 3 months in a big way.
Yeah, I think if you also can go into a Discord after the drop has been successful, these things mint out, they have their little pre-reveal hype cycle. They have maybe a little bit of a pump after, and that's kind of where Lemons is sitting right now. But maybe that subsides, and this is like where the hard work starts to happen of maintaining that community, building the brand, keeping the project moving forward. And that doesn't even mean like developing a token or a game around it or anything, but just like keeping your objective moving. If you can stumble across like a Discord or a project that maybe launched 3 months ago and they still just have something going on in there, like that might be a good sign that eventually things are gonna turn around for the better. And I think once you reach that point, and then if you're fortunate enough to have that big run up again, you almost never see them return down to the lows that they were at before that point.
And it's a great point Cobain is making. I was really curious to see how it all played out, and these are all such interesting case studies. Each project is different.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Great question.
Love it.
Josh.
Yeah, and I do have to say that underlying rule of like, do people get wildly attached really, really quickly to their PFP for a project?
Right.
Man, yeah, I've never seen it like I've seen it with Little Lemon Friends.
So different. Yeah,
it's wow.
I don't know how you strike that. Like, it's just I don't know. Like, there's just something that makes you want to buy more of something versus you buy, like apes. Okay, they're great. Everyone wants one. Do you buy one and you're like, oh, I have to have an, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that magic sauce is, but Cool Cats and Lemons really nailed it.
I say
whatever they put on Doritos, and they took that one ingredient and put it into the project. It's amazing.
It's got the Dorito spice, yeah.
MSG, baby. Monosodium glutamate. Does it every time.
One of the biggest food myths in the world is that MSG is bad for you. But anyway,
it's nice to have a fellow chef on here, because MSG is literally the foundation of like the umami taste. The thing we love about eating is MSG is largely responsible for that. In fact, did you know the largest source of MSG is tomatoes? Eating tomatoes, you get more MSG than Chinese food, so to say. Whole idea that Chinese
MSG needs better marketing. It was the victim of one unreviewed study that just made tons of false claims, and they put it out there, and it kind of just caught fire, and it fudded the shit out of MSG. There you go.
If you know how deep,
not just an NFT show.
We're very, very
also an MSG fund. I should throw one more thing in on that. I've got a friend who works for Ajinomoto, which is like the biggest MSG, producer in the world, and they're actively trying to get out there and do social campaigns and stuff right now to try to correct all the misinformation around MSG.
I think we're doing a good job of it.
Yeah,
I'll try to make a sponsorship happen.
The AM show sponsored to you by Big MSG.
You know where they get all their MSG from?
Madison Square Garden.
Kelp. That's where most large corporations get their MSG. They get it from kelp. Kelp is so umami.
Stuff.
I mean, that's why it's okay. What are we doing here?
We're going deep. We're going deep.
I might draw the line at a 5-minute MSG conversation. Keep the ball rolling. Actually, on that note, I don't see any hands up on the stage, so it is 11 o'clock. A solid little hour and a half show. We probably could have gone for another hour.
We may have to hop off into that VC quickly. We got 2 minutes left for the Frens gas war, which is going to happen here. I don't know if anyone wants to get involved, but
so actually, on that note, let's wrap it up. Anybody that wants to participate in that, jump down there right now. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, recorded for YouTube and Spotify. It'll be up there, and we're gonna do it again tomorrow. I just kicked everybody out, but just in case you haven't known, we're gonna be having a tax accountant on the show tomorrow morning live, and we don't normally do interviews, but it should be a lot of fun. So thanks so much, and good luck with the minting today.
good luck at the tables, D. Jones.